Our next speaker is Marlene DeLange, and she is a career educator with UBC Career Services, where she has worked with graduate students. So she solely focuses on graduate students since 1998 to plan their career futures. This is the expert here, okay? Ms. DeLange has a Master's of Education as well as several specialized training certifications. In addition to working with students, she is a training and development consultant with many industry clients, including Deloitte Touche, Industry Training Authority, Fisheries and Oceans Canada. Did you guys know each other before? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
DFO is very
BC
big.
Hydro and various healthcare providers. She has assisted over 1,500 people manage their careers in the last 5 years within post-secondary government, top companies in industry, and not-for-profit organizations, and has delivered over 500 workshops on a variety of topics. And you agreed to do this. Thank you very much. I have read this, though. Today, she's going to share some practical tips for assessing suitable careers beyond the ivory tower. Okay, so you don't vote for academic administration, okay. And she's going to highlight a few stories of students who got interesting jobs and used their transferable skills. Marlene.
Thank you. So I'm always fascinated by career stories, and so when I listen to my panel members, I'm always picking up things. And I think the seed for my career began at probably your stage of life, and actually got me a lot of free beer in university, which was quite fun because I was living in a residence environment, and I noticed a lot of the people were looking for jobs that I was living with, and I was in business, but I'd look at their resume and I go, I wouldn't hire you. Let me look at that. Let me rewrite that. So I would take their resume and reconstruct it for them, and they get job offers. So I'm going, hey, I must have something here. And I had not studied resume writing or anything like that. So, however, when I graduated, the job market was very unlike what you're facing today. So you face a fantastic job market. My job market was not great. Accountants weren't getting jobs. Nurses weren't getting jobs, teachers weren't getting jobs, and engineers weren't getting jobs. If you look to those occupational areas and they're not getting jobs, that tells you a lot about the state of the economy. So this woman was not going to take that sitting down. So I honed my job search skills, and for every job I applied for, I got an offer. So in a very, very bad economy. But I learned that getting full-time work was at some points difficult. So I was much more able to get contract work or project-based work. So how that relates to today as well is that I discovered I don't want a boss. So I like consulting. I like project-based work. I like beginnings and ends of things. So this is part of that. You're hearing in all these stories that piece in ourselves that we got discovery or had discovery and then leveraged into specific careers. So I think we're all encouraging you to do that discovery for yourselves and to package it. And eventually, I'm going to talk like a business person and market it. So yes, my primary focus here at UBC is helping folks in the graduate programs transition to industry. So I work more with Diane's group, who is more of a specialist, I'll call it, on the academic career. I'm more of a specialist in helping the academic transition to industry. So I always claim that expertise and help many, many students in that way. So from the short-term contracts, I mean, even today, look at my briefcase. This is how big it is, because I'm going from this presentation to another presentation to downtown to deliver training, where I have all kinds of great little tools for my people to play with during my training events. So it's reflective of who I am, because I like change and variety. I want to have fun. Actually, being a training person, it's very hard for me to actually sit here and not interact with you and get you up moving around, because that's how I'm sort of inclined. In terms of advice or key messages, just in my observation of being a career educator, I don't know where you're all from, I don't know your backgrounds, but just in my observation of working with UBC students, and are any of you UBC students? Okay, terrific, and welcome to the rest of you. So I don't know what career services you're participating in, but a couple of observations. I know that folks from the humanities and social sciences and arts they tend to undersell themselves, or they undersell their degree. And I just feel so strongly about that don't do that, okay? So take hold of that beautiful degree that you have, identify the transferable skills and the things that you have to offer, and get out there, put your shoulders back, put your head up, and speak confidently about this degree. It's a powerful degree, and as you hear, there are many transferable skills in this degree. So if any of you have been doing that, please stop. Employers want those skills, so please don't undersell them. Another pattern that I see with a lot of students is that they don't leave the nest, I call it. At UBC, I don't know if you saw that we're kind of at the end of a peninsula, so you have to drive here or take the bus here or cycle here or walk here or run here, whatever it is, and we're at the end of the peninsula. And what happens is, it's so pretty here, isn't it pretty? We have trees, we have forests, we have an ocean to look at, we have some mountain ranges to look at, and we get very cozy here. But we don't leave the nest, so we don't discover that world of work outside of UBC. It's very insular here. I don't know if that's happening in some of your other universities. So my suggestion is leave the nest and start discovering the world of work while you're a student. So I noticed that pattern, that people are managing their career in a sequential way rather than what I call a parallel way. So what they do is they're students and then they think job. So they work really, really hard at being a student, and they really focus because your semesters are set up like that, your deadlines are set up like that, and then they say, oh, what am I going to do with my degree? And then there's another piece that they add, and it's usually towards the end of their degree, and I say start much earlier. Make that process not first degree, then job search, but they're parallel. They're going on simultaneously. I think the messages I heard, particularly with Julie, was that she was managing that career throughout her career, and that was a strong message I got from her story, is that start managing your career now, to not be passive or soft about it, depending on what your ambitions are. So I recognize everybody has different ambitions, and I appreciate that. So I'm a bit over the map here, but just these are observations. So I think you heard from the panel members, your communication skills, they are so very critical for business today. As I told you, I got a lot of free beer in university because I got the skill set, and I didn't even know it was a skill set, that these other people weren't able to write about themselves and they weren't able to sell themselves. That's a communication skill. It was packaged up in a certain specific way, but you also have those, and please sell them in some way if you're curious about the business environment, because business needs good communicators. And by the way, as a training and development consultant, I work with a lot of businesses who have hired people who actually don't communicate very well. And there are lots of business issues because people are not communicating effectively, both in a paper form as well as in a human form. And thankfully, it means a lot of business for me. So it's an issue that has been very good, but I still want the world to be a better place, and that once we hire you, we keep you, and communication skills are part of that. Get support. Get to your career services, get a mentor. Involve your supervisor, involve your loved ones, but somehow involve others in this career journey. It is not just a one-time job search. You're at a high enough level, you should be managing your career very proactively, and you don't do it alone. So get somebody on board with you if you haven't got that. And you also heard a strong message here today of networking, and I'm just going to keep on endorsing that. But I just want to add the piece because I recognize I work with so many different students, and one size does not fit all with networking. I recognize that each one of you would be very different people, and there's some solid messages for how to network, but you're all unique people, so network in the way that works for you. For example, when I work, and I'm going to be stereotypical, but with my scientists, I was just with a group of electrical engineers yesterday, and they were very quiet in the class. I was teaching them networking. It took me a little coaching and a little prodding to get them out moving towards that. But when I mentioned things like volunteer at an event, they were right into it. They would totally appreciate being beside somebody, working with them towards a common goal, and that was networking that they could. It was something they could handle, and thought that was a good idea. So honor who you are, but get out there, leave the nest. So those are just some points that I have. Okay.